sense. So today I don't really have any specific plans for using blocks, but if you happen to have them around, it might be a little bit easier to get through certain things if you have them. I cannot see my screen. I can't find my give them a little icon. Okay, cool. So we're good. Hey, Victoria and Marco. Gonna do kind of into both shoulders and hips today. Just really working on some mobility, like loosening, aligning, that sort of thing. Short dharma today. I got some advice from a friend about a year and a half ago. I was going through something that I was really struggling with. And I just kept saying, like, I just can't figure out what to do. I don't know what the right thing is to do. I want to do the right thing. And my friend said, it's actually Chris, a lot of you know him. He said, rather than worry about what's right, just do what comes naturally. And he refused to expound upon this, like to really like philosophize it with me. He's like, you're thinking too much about things as it is. Just do what comes naturally, do that. But since then, I have thought a lot about this concept of trying to do what comes naturally. Because we often get really stuck in what we think we are supposed to do. And if we are doing the good work with ourselves, this practice of connection, this practice of being present, of being aware of what is in this moment, then if we strip away all of the worry and all of the madness that comes on top of it, we are simply able to be. We are able to be where things are most natural, and then probably that's really the right thing to be doing. Well, I want to work in mobility with that kind of concept today, because the physical postures that we do in yoga, all of like the hard work that we do in order to get loosen these limbs, is to peel away all of the layers of discomfort that come into the human form that keep us from being able to be still. It is interesting. Of like a double-edged sword. Like we have to move a lot so that we can be still, because when we are still, when we strip away all of those layers of what we should be doing or should be getting into this or that, we are able to simply be. It is more natural to be in the moment, to be in the experience. We might try to do a little bit of a seated breath meditation practice when we wrap up here. But we'll get started with face brushing. So the index finger and the thumb together, you'll come to the squishy spot at the bottom of your thumb and brush outwards from the center of your forehead, outwards towards your temples. And then from the sides of your nose out to your temples, along your cheekbones. And then from the temples down to your chin, tracing the bottom edge of your face. And from the sides of your nose down to your chin, along your laugh lines. And as you take your fingertips underneath and behind your ears, feeling for that soft spot and the bony spot and lifting up from that point. Even noticing or imagining that peeling away, feeling like any of the tension and shortness in your spine just kind of dripping out of your body. Feeling a little bit lighter, a little bit more lifted. And keeping that lifted feeling as best you can as you rest your hands down into your lap. A nice big breath in through your nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Again, like that. For 3 ohms. gonna start to open your eyes. If you're seated up on anything, go ahead and move it out of your way. Now take your legs, just swing them over towards the left. I'll mirror you here. You're gonna hold onto your legs with your left hand, and then drop your ear over towards the left, reaching your right fingertips out. So it's kind of extending them out there. And then see if you can relax your chin down just a little bit. We have that tendency to drop the head back. And you're going to turn your nose all the way down towards your shoulder. Finish your exhale. And start to gently lift your head up. You're now going to take your right hand over towards your knee and your left hand back behind you and give yourself a little twist here. Just let your belly soften as you exhale. And then quick counter twist over towards the other side. Just turn over your right shoulder. Come back to the center and switch your legs. So slide them over to the other side. I'm gonna hold on so you don't fall over being asymmetric here. And you're gonna reach out through the left fingertips, dropping your right ear down towards your right shoulder. Then give that little softening of the chin. So it's just kind of letting the head come forward rather than like hanging out behind ourselves. And on your next exhale, start to roll your nose down towards that shoulder, stretching the neck in a slightly different manner. One more breath out. And gently lifting your head back up. You're going to twist over towards your legs. Use your arms to support you. It's not perfectly aligned and stacked in the spine. Just doing the best that you can with the legs in this weird position. One more breath out. And quick twist over towards the left, just countering real fast. And then unwind. And you're going to send both legs out in front of you. Take your right leg and tuck it in, and you can leave it here. You can cross the leg over the body. Try to get your left toes lifted. You're going to take your elbow and hook it on the outside of your thigh here. So as best as you can, getting that crossed over. And then your right hand back behind you. You want to push the elbow into your thigh to lift your heart up. And then as you twist, can you relax this shoulder, which is really just like this mind game that you're playing. I'm using this arm, but can I still relax my shoulder? One more big breath in. Soften your belly as you exhale. And then unhook that elbow. And you'll switch your legs over towards the other side. So extend your right leg out, keep those toes lifted. It helps to engage and lift the spine. You want to tuck the elbow just so that it at least barely grazes your knee or the side of your thigh. Left arm for support. Lift up from behind your ears. Press the elbow into the thigh, feeling more of that rotation around in your chest. And then a little like kind of mind game. Can I soften this shoulder? Sometimes the answer to these things is, I don't know, it's weird, I'm not sure, maybe not today. That's all okay. One more exhale. Unwind. Come back to the center. We're going to unwind the legs. Come down on your back for a little bit, tucking your knees into your chest, and rocking yourself around, massaging the lower back on the floor. And then you're going to take your legs and you're going to cross ankles, reach outside your legs to hold onto the shins or feet, whatever you can grab onto with relative ease. Let this be the softening in practice. Just warming ourselves up. Cross your ankles the other way. Being still if stillness is calling to you, if stillness feels natural, or it feels natural to sway to the knees. took a bit doing that. Uncross your legs, cross them the other way. Maybe though you take the thighs and cross them over. And then you're gonna hold onto your knees or outside to your ankles and give a little back around. And then anything more than this is just extra. It's not, you're not gonna miss out on anything by not doing so. But can you maybe like get your feet up so that they're parallel with the ceiling-ish? I know mine isn't perfect, but that's the idea. Maybe you hook your foot around. But definitely you're squeezing your inner thighs together. A little bit of core work is going to come in here. You have many options. You can take breaks. You can slide your hands underneath your hips. If you're feeling really saucy and your back feels good, you can have your hands behind your head. From here, take a big breath in. Exhale, squeeze thighs together, soften the belly back towards your spine. So rather than crunching, can you feel it drawing in, coming together? Take a breath in. Exhale, knees move away from you. So maybe it's more like those feet are going down towards the floor. And then you're going to squeeze the thighs together to bring them back up. And exhale, lower the legs away from you. Or the thighs just move away from you. However you're making that happen is all good. Can you keep squeezing those thighs together though? I know this is like nothing in the vague realm of comfort. We'll do something comfortable in just a moment. We're going for 5. This should be about your 5th one, or however many you decided to do. And then you're going to unwind your legs, do a little happy baby, just to free your inner thighs, holding on to your toes or whatever the heck you want. And then coming back to having the legs crossed, but this time the other leg on top. If you can get the knees crossed straight, just give a little hip opening here, holding on the knees or the ankles or something. And things start to get fun. You can just take the legs and lift them up. Maybe you can squeeze your feet together. Maybe you can hook the ankle on the outside of your calf. Nothing of it is necessary except for squeezing those inner thighs together. And this is already core work. This is already a coming together, a joining in of our body units. Functions here, hands behind hips or hands behind head. It's up to you. It's whatever's best for your body. Exhale, release those legs further away, but don't release them from each other. Squeeze those thighs in. Exhale, move it away. Can you keep the belly softening back towards the spine? And then do that about 3 more times, or about as many times as you were pretty sure you did it on the other side. And then unwind your legs, come into happy baby, which should feel very freeing. Some space between my inner thighs. How nice. And then you're going to drop your feet back down. You plant it on the floor. Take one leg and open it up. And you can just do one leg opening to release the inner thigh. If it feels good to do 2, that's great. If you want to grab those blocks and slide them underneath your thighs, you can do that. If you don't have blocks and this feels tender, just do the one leg. And if you are just doing one leg at a time, go ahead and switch over to the other side, just kind of giving that area some space. And one more exhale. And then bringing both legs back in, we'll go right ankle on left knee. Reach up and hold onto your left thigh. If anything feels tense in your neck, go ahead and grab a pillow or a block and set it behind your head. And you're gonna activate your left foot, so your leg that's the supporting leg, the bottom one, and you're gonna push out through the sole of that foot, which is gonna maybe bring the hips down a little bit more. like you're shooting laser beams out of that left foot, just Big breath in. Big breath out. And then release your left foot, release your right foot and cross over the other way. Left ankle on top, holding onto the right leg, push out through the sole of your right foot. Just feeling the sole of the foot, just push outwards, hips kind of towards the floor. One more exhale. And release your feet down. Step your feet out a little bit wider than your hips. Reach your arms back. Hold on to opposing elbows if that's comfortable to you. If not, arms further apart. You're going to draw your toes up to your shins. Release your knees over towards the right side. And that left knee, the top knee, you're going to feel that reach away from you a little bit more. Not here for a long time, but here for a good time. Just take another breath in and another breath out. Bringing the knees back to the center and over towards the other side. So toes down up towards your shins. Reaching that right knee away from you. So lengthening, opening up the front of the top hip. Big breath in. Big breath out. And coming back to the center, knees into your chest, rock yourself up to a seat. And then coming out into child's pose, you're gonna swing the legs behind you, arms out in front, knees wider, hips back in the direction of your feet, even if they don't actually get there. Give yourself a little rock side to side in your hips. Maybe giving your forehead a massage on the floor. Go ahead and lift your head up. Look up towards your hands. Crawl them in front of you to a degree that it makes your hips lift up a little bit. Your hands might slide back a little bit, but now take your hips and curl them back towards your feet. So a little bit more space in the shoulders and in the spine. This feels tender. You can be on fingertips. Sometimes that'll give a little bit more room in the shoulders. If there's any tightness behind your neck, can you release that? Are your hips actually releasing more back towards your feet or more back away from your hands? Big breath in. Big breath out. And then lifting back up onto your hands and knees. And align the knees in a little bit closer. We're gonna thread the needle. I'll start left side, reaching underneath. And then resting on the outside of your shoulder, you might come up onto your fingertips. Or bring your fingertips together, pressing into your palms. Can you soften your belly? Can you soften the thigh bones and the hip sockets? Resting your head. Finding your breath. Big breath in. Big breath out. And the left or right hand comes back to the right shoulder. We'll unwind the left arm. Can you take that arm all the way up in the sky? And then you're going to move your right knee back, which will give you a little bit more space to open that left arm up perhaps. Reach from the heart all the way up to those fingertips. Maybe even get a little bit of a back bend into it because sometimes it feels good. And then resting. Both hands back down. You'll slide those knees back in line. And then coming to threading the needle on the other side. So take your right hand and slide it down, resting on the outside of your shoulder. You can come up onto the left fingertip or bring the left fingertip to your right fingertip. Get a little bit more active stretch on the outside of that right shoulder. there tends to be a tension that develops in the thigh bones here. So the hips kind of shift off to one side. Can you rest that? Can you give that tension permission to release? And then the legs tend to go more or less back in line. It's kind of wild. One more breath in. Stay through the breath out. And then your left hand comes back down. We're going to open the right arm up and then switch that left knee back to a degree that just lets you open up a little bit more. And I know usually so try to get the arms stacked and the shoulders stacked and not just let that hand come behind you. But if you want to maybe give yourself a little extra here, a bit more rolling open of the chest, very dramatic. One more exhale. And then come on back into table pose. So you're going to take your right leg, we're going to reach it back behind, and then you're going to turn your toes out towards the right, which is going to shift your hips a little bit, but can you draw your belly in to maybe bring you a little bit more connected? And then see if you can get your knee all the way up to the outside of your right arm, and then open it back up, send the leg back. And then do that 2 more times. Not all the way up towards that arm, and then send the leg back, and then one more time all the way up towards the arm. But this time you're going to try to put your right foot where your right hand was, and if it ends up here, you just switch it to where you want it to be. And stick the hands up onto your front thigh. And then feel your inner thighs drawing in together so we have a little bit more connection in the pelvis. You're going to take your left elbow down onto the thigh. We're going to have that same kind of twist that we had before where you're going to push that elbow into the thigh to make this happen. Now you can stay here or you can put your palms together. And even though there's a lot of action in this bottom arm, can you still open up in both collarbones and be soft in the heart? Strong arms. Soft and open. Push down strong in that front foot. That's going to help to keep your thigh bones in. Maybe you're lifting those inner thighs in together as well. Big breath in. Big breath out. Unwind. And come back to the center. This time reach the arms up. A little bit more lift in the chest. Let the hips lean slightly forward. You should feel a nice stretch in the front of your left thigh. Big breath in. And then go ahead and take your hands down. Now, if you have a hard time getting your left hand onto the floor, what you might do is grab a block or stack of books or be on fingertips. Now, you don't have to lift the back knee up. You could leave it where it is, but maybe you curl the back toes under and lift that back knee up. And once you get here, lift those inner thighs so you have a little bit more of that connection in your center. And you're going to push from your heart down to your left hand. Now, this is going to lift up and open the chest. And then you're going to push from your heart also up into that right hand. Push down in the front foot. Roll both inner thighs towards the sky. Can you, even though your heart's pushing out into your hands, can you let it be soft and open? Maybe you wiggle your jaw, soften your throat, and perhaps feel a little bit more space open in the chest. One more exhale. And take both hands down. If your back knee was up, you're going to lower it down. And then you're going to work towards a straight-ish right leg. Not a huge, big movement, just kind of giving that space the opportunity to unravel. Soften with your next exhale. And then start to come forward. You're going to try to bring your hands down on the inside of your right leg. Notice I did a little wiggling of that foot out. And then you're going to squeeze your knee into your armpit. Wrap your belly upwards towards your spine. See if you can get your foot off the floor. And then take the leg back into table pose. line up. I got a little long there. We're gonna take the left leg back and then turn the knee and the toe out to the side, and you're gonna pull that knee as close as you can up to your arm, and then out the same way it came out to that side, send the left leg back. And then 2 more. Exhale, pull it in. Inhale, send it back. This time, pulling it in again, and see if you can put your foot down where your hand was, and then you put your hands up on your thigh. You want to feel this drawing into the center. So this is pulling in, connecting in that middle. I'm going to try to keep that as you bring the right elbow down to the left side, push down in that left foot. And you can keep your hand on your thigh or your palms close together. Try not to have your shoulder going towards your thumbs. Can you have your heart going towards your thumbs? Strong in the lower body. Strong in the arms. Soft in the belly and the heart. And maybe your eyebrows too. Big breath in. Big breath out. Starting to lift yourself out of this twist. We'll come back into the center. Reach both arms up. Maybe your hips slide a little bit more forward to stretch out the front of the thigh. Lift up, heart right to the fingertips. One more breath in. And then go ahead and take your hands down. So this is where you might grab a block or a book, or put your hand on the dog or the cat or something. And you can leave the back knee down. It doesn't have to go up, but if it does, you have even more opportunity and benefit to lifting those inner thighs. And you can feel those legs coming back in. So heart down to the bottom arm and heart up to the top arm. Ears reach away from your back heel. Both inner thighs revolve up towards the ceiling. Expanding across your chest. Strong in both feet, especially the front foot. Big breath in. Big breath out. And taking the hands down, and lower that back knee if you had it up. And then you're gonna start to straight-ish the front leg. And I say straight-ish because it doesn't have to get totally straight. You just wanna open up the back of this leg. I often wiggle my heel a little bit further forward when I do this. It gives a little bit more space. I think it has something to do with the length of your shin bone. I'm still experimenting with that. On your next exhale, relax your left hip. And start to pull yourself forward. You're going to move if you had the block or the book or the cat, and start to send it out of the way. And then you want to try to get both hands down on the inside of your leg. You know that leg's gonna go places, but first I want to squeeze the knee in towards the armpit. Push down into the hands, draw your belly up, keeping everything connected as best you can to support you, and then see if you can get the foot up off the floor. And then send the leg back and put both knees down. Let's widen the knees again and sit back into child's pose for a moment. Maybe wiggle around in the hips and the forehead. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more time. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then lift your head up. You're going to look forward. And you might feel a little bit silly or a little bit clumsy as you do it. And that's fine. You're not being recorded. You're here just to play around with yourself. See if you can slither forward into cobra. So you want to stay down below the belly as best you can. Dive forward there and then wiggle out whatever you need to. Just send the elbows back and feel the heart reach forward. On your exhale, go ahead and soften. We're going to press down into the hands, reach the hips back towards cobra pose or towards child's pose. It might be a little bit different here because we're gonna go ahead and crawl forward into cobra again, which is possibly the least natural part of our practice today. We're just gonna see what happens with it. Elbows are back, shoulders are open, and then pressing back in child's pose-ish. One more time. Exhale. and slither cobra pose. When you get there, expand your chest, lift the ears off of your shoulders. This time soften as you exhale, and then we're gonna press up and back in a downward facing dog. So coming into a forward fold, if you need to not be on your hands right now, give a little bend into your knees if that's giving you more space. Can you lift your inner thighs upwards? This is also probably gonna lift the hips upwards, and also probably lifted your heels upwards, so then can you relax the heels? From the armpits pushing down into wide fingertips. Don't try to hold your head up, it's not going anywhere, I promise. Pretty generally about to or in the process of losing my mind, but my physical head has thus far remained attached. One more exhale. And then that forward fold. So you can bring your feet up towards your hands and your hands towards your feet. We've got 2 fist width distance in between your feet. And now in this fold, can you relax those inner thighs? This might mean that you relax and bend your knees. Releasing your neck. And then going nice and slow and easy with yourself. Let the head be relaxed. Let the knees stay bent. Let's roll up through the spine. And then once you get up, we're going to come into Warrior One. And we're going to wrap up Eagle Arms. So take your right foot forward. Back toes are turned up. I'm going to pull this right thigh back. And then wrap your left arm on top, and you might hold your elbows, or don't wrap the arms, just bring your elbows and your palms together. Now, can you stay strong in the legs, and then from the belly up, you just soften inward. Maybe you gently reach those forearms towards your front foot. And you keep releasing your right hip towards your back foot. One more exhale. And then you're going to unwind your arms. Go ahead and lift them up. You're going to come onto the back toes. This is going to help to square your hips a little bit further forward. And this is just for fun. I'm going to try to stand up and lift your left knee up to your chest before you set it down. So lift those inner thighs, come on up. And set it down. Great. Let's go other side. So right foot back. We'll have this line up, pulling this thigh back. I lean slightly forward. And then opposite arm on top, or hugging, or elbows together. So soften the belly. Soften the belly up as you relax the elbows down and forward. And curling inwards with 2 really strong feet. Notice where the tension is. It's going to always keep creeping up, yeah? Maybe reaching those forearms down a little bit more, checking in again, pulling the left hip towards the back foot. One more exhale. Unwinding, reaching the arms up. You're going to shift up onto your back toes, which is going to help to square you off and hopefully make the trajectory to come to standing and lifting that leg a little bit easier. Lift those inner thighs, go for it. Get it up there, and then go ahead and set it down. Saw some fluid things. I still can barely see my screen, but I saw bodies moving. Coming into a Buddha squat for a moment. Just like we did in that Eagle Warrior One, can you be strong in the lower body and soft in the upper body? The dualistic nature of existing in the world as a human. I am this and I am that, because I am really all things. Push into the pinky toe edges of your feet. Try to relax your upper butt down just another inch. Release with your exhale. And then straighten the legs. Let's turn the heels back so legs stay really wide. Toes are forward. Arms go behind your back. You can interlace your fingers or hold your hips if that feels more comfortable. Let's stretch the chest open. Now, as you come forward, it's going to change how your shoulders want to line up, because you've got gravity and you just rearrange the position of your body. So know that you want to give a little adjustment when you get down there, yeah? Let's send the heart forward. And then say, okay, how can I adjust my shoulders here? Maybe there's some elbow bending. Okay, I just kind of roll them up and back. Yeah, let my head tuck in slightly. Take a moment to notice where the weight is in your feet. If you want more hamstring sensations, I would recommend trying to push more weight into the toes. And then the opposite if you want less hamstring sensation. One more exhale. Draw your belly in, release your hands to your hips. Come on up. And then we'll come into warrior two, facing over towards the right side. So we'll turn all these toes in and then bend into your right leg. And then here's another thought. Can you really lift your inner thigh up? Which might help to get your hips kind of a little bit more underneath you. And it's also going to help to keep this leg in line. It's a different way of thinking of it. Now you're going to take your right hand's going to come up, and it's either going to go behind your head or behind your neck, and you can hold on to your elbow, or you can sneak the other hand up your back, and you have no idea if I'm holding hands or not. I might be just pressing my hands into my back. But you're reaching the elbows apart, and you're going to reach that right elbow out here. You keep rolling your inner right thigh up towards the ceiling. I know this is a hard one. We won't be here long. One more exhale. And then come on up. Straighten your leg. Release your arms. And we'll switch to the other side. So bend into this leg. Feel this inner thigh rolling up towards the ceiling. Hopefully continuing to keep that knee in line. And then you'll have now the left elbow. Maybe the hands go back. Maybe they're bound. Maybe they're not. You have no idea, do you? It doesn't matter. So can you keep rolling this inner thigh up and then reach out towards this elbow? Woohoo! Nice. One more exhale. And you're coming on up, releasing that leg, slowly releasing your arms, and then we'll bring the feet back in together. We're going to take a couple of standing balances to it. So we're going to do a little bit of a flow-like situation. What you might do is have something in front of you, like 2 blocks or 1 block, or make a tower with your blocks if you want them a little bit longer. You just want to kind of have maybe something in front of you that you could grab onto. It could be your couch, like come over here and just kind of have that in case. And then we're going to take a like warrior 3, but with your hands down. So it won't be quite as balanced, like, because our transitions are going to be a little fun. So take your hands down. Let's go right leg lifted. And then spiral both, the right inner thigh spirals up to the ceiling and the left inner thigh spirals back. And then your belly, can you shift your belly to the left just a tiny, like a hair to the left? And then reach your heart forward. And you might come out of fingertips, but I would recommend keeping your hands down because we really want to focus on just squaring everything off here. Okay. And then we'll start to change this. You're going to lift from your inner thighs to come up to standing, lifting your right knee up into your chest. And then you're going to put your right ankle on your left knee, sit back to a figure 4 balance. And you've got these here, so if it's easier for you to take your hands down and not have to worry about so much balancing, you just know you give yourself that because the transitions are funky here today. Reach both hips back. Probably your left hip has to reach back just a little bit more. Maybe you roll that right inner thigh to the sky a little bit more and say, oh, hey, hip rotation. And then we're just going to end up back where we started. So we're going to go all in reverse. You're going to start to lift your heart up. Ooh, lift that right knee high. And then you're going to swoop it back behind you, coming into that warrior 3 with hands down situation. And then does it feel any different after the work you've done? Does it feel harder because your butt's been working so hard on that left side? Does it feel more open anywhere? Just observing. And then go ahead and set your right foot down. Bend into both of your knees. Let your body soften forward. Playing a little bit in your spine. then go ahead and look up. You're gonna take your hands up onto whatever you had your hands on, and you can have your hands on the floor if you've got really long hamstrings. My right one is short and tender these days, so that's not gonna be me on this side, that's for sure. Let's send the left leg up and back, lifting that left inner thigh, rolling the right inner thigh back, and there's that slight shift of your belly over towards the right, just to bring you a little bit more strength. And then extending your heart forward. Reaching ears out of your shoulders, trying to get back into that breathing thing. Awesome. One more breath in. Exhale. You're gonna lift yourself up. Ooh, lift those inner thighs. See if you can get that left knee up. Do a dance. I'm gonna fall over. No, I'm not. There we go. Good. Oh my gosh. Bend into your right leg. Ah! Ankle on the knee. Okay, cool. All across that. Always a practice, never a perfect. Maybe your hands are in or on your thigh, or you take them down. Maybe roll your left inner thigh up. Pull your right inner thigh up, which might pull your right hip back a little bit more. Ooh, hips today. And some shoulder stuff. That's a good one. We're just getting all the corners and joints and stuff. One more exhale. And we'll start lifting back up to standing. I'll have more success with this time, maybe not. And then swoop that left leg back behind you. Coming back to that warrior three. Where do the inner thighs go to best support you? Just being observant of what's going on in your body here. One more breath in. And then 2 feet down, feet a little bit more like hip width distance apart. Wiggle around. You can use the blocks still or set them off to your side. We're gonna bend more into the left leg. So the right leg is a little bit straighter if it's not completely straight. And then your right arm's gonna come up. I call this the sassy hip twist because you wanna kind of poke this thigh out a little bit, the thigh bone out. It's like, hey. Relax your heart up towards those top fingertips. Ooh, that was something. And then go ahead and swoop the right hand down. You're now going to have more of a bend into your right leg than your left, although your left can still be bent, of course. And then taking your left arm up, releasing from your heart up to your fingertips. And then bumping that thigh out a little sassy. One more round of breath. And then taking both hands down, nice and easy. Here, we're gonna roll it up. And then take your hands into the back pockets of your imaginary high-waisted jeans and let the weight rest a little bit forward in your hips. I'm exaggerating slightly, but you do wanna lean so the weight is more above your toes. And then you're going to take your elbows back, kind of like a standing cobra pose here. We're letting the heart lift up and forward, drawing elbows back. And not jumping back. Reaching up and out and forward. One more breath in. Breathing out. Coming back in line. Stacking your body again, releasing your arms down by your side. Coming back into the front of your mat space, you might have to adjust yourself a bit here. You're going to take an inhale and reach the arms up, follow the fingertips with your gaze. Maybe you have a little bit more of that leaning the hips forward, reaching the heart up and out. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, soften it all down, bend your knees as much as you need, let your head hang, maybe wiggle your head out a little bit. And then with the same forward in the heart action as you do in Cobra, we'll come halfway up here. So sending your tailbone back and reaching your heart forward. Maybe you can broaden your collarbones a little bit. Big inhale. Exhale, softening down again. Let's plant the hands and step back into downward facing dog. You can come into table or child's pose. You should not be bearing weight on your arms at this point, but if you are up in downward dog or any place where you're bearing any weight on the hands, try to wrap your elbows back towards your toes and then reach your hips back a little bit more length in that spine. Big breath in. Big breath out. And go ahead and lower your knees down. You're going to turn your left toes out to the left, send your right leg out to the right, and then reach your right arm over, so I'm not mirroring you here. Can you relax that top shoulder forward slightly? Big breath in. And as you exhale, roll it all the way back down. In a table pose, 2 knees down, lining it up. And switching to the other side. So sliding those right toes out, left leg to the back, reaching that left arm all the way over, and then release that shoulder blade forward. Yeah, you see sometimes we pinch it back and it doesn't feel so great behind the shoulder, maybe shorten the neck. If you release that arm just slightly forward, stretching from the scapula out to the fingertips. One more exhale, rolling it all the way back down into table pose, and then walk your knees back and slightly lean your heart forwards. Draw your belly towards your spine, lower as slowly as you want to, down onto your belly. Wiggle your legs back more. Let's take a stretch to the front of the shoulder, reach the arm out to the right side, palm facing down. And then look over towards the left. Roll your left leg back so you're stretching open on the right side of your chest. And then this left leg goes wherever it feels comfortable to. So many of us will just kind of leave it more stacked and let the support be in the left arm. Maybe you reach the leg back a lot. Maybe you're feeling real bendy and you want to put the foot on the floor, knee facing up. If you do this, I like to soften my belly back a little bit here, just to give a little bit more space into the lower back, which also increases my twist at the same time. It's madness. Being a human is madness. Oh my. And start rolling yourself over onto your belly, sliding out through the left hand, looking over towards the right, sliding this right hand in, and then turn over, finding that open in the front of the left chest twist on the other side. And if you have the leg bent like so, which of course you do not have to do, try to soften this belly back. Really feeling things. Being in this mad, crazy human state and feeling things can be an interesting or maybe uncomfortable experience at times, but you gotta be open to all of it. And all of those wild, crazy things, that we are open and available to the entirety of this wild ride of being human, of being alive. One more exhale in this wild ride. And then rolling over onto your belly. We'll push the hips up and back. And then we're gonna come into pigeon pose. We'll do a fairly short visit, so try to stay up on your hands. You're gonna bring your right knee up to your right hand. Your foot is in front of your hip. Slide your left leg back. Stay on fingertips if you can. Relax the right thigh bone back, maybe giving the left thigh bone a chance to come forward and lift your heart up. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then your back leg, you're gonna tuck it up. You're probably gonna have to push yourself up here. You're gonna tuck your back leg back behind your right knee, and then see if you can sit back. So I'm a little twisted on my mat here, but I'm coming into cow face pose, and what is often very helpful is to grab a block or a stack of blocks or a pillow and prop it up underneath your hips. Face you dead on here. I like tucking the back leg in and kind of putting the thighs together before I sit down. I feel like it gives me a little bit more connection here. Take a quick twist to either side. So twist over your top leg, which means you might not be mirroring me. One more exhale. Notice this hip resting back slightly as you do. And then come into the twist the other way and try not to let this top hip follow you. That's why I wanted to twist that way first, just to give you a little more space. You want to leave this top hip down and back. Big breath in. Big breath out. And come out of the twist. This is where it's going to get a little bit funky. I want you to unwind your top leg. If you're sitting on a block, it might be a little bit easier. Make sure here. Yeah. So if you're sitting on a block, it may have a little bit more space. But you're going to unwind your top leg. The bottom leg, you're going to shift over on top of it, so you're no longer on that block. And then just lean your heart back. Maybe lift your hip up a little bit. Yeah, just here. And then soften your hips down. Go ahead and swing your legs back around. We can get set up for pigeon on the other side. So your knee is going to come forward, your foot's forward, and you roll that or slide that right leg back as best you can, up on fingertips if you're able. Release your left thigh bone back. Maybe that right hip is able to come forward a little bit more. Heart up, heart soft, ears lifted. One more breath in. Breathing out. We're going to take that back leg, we're going to tuck it up, going pigeon to cow face. So we've got many crazy hip stuff. I'm going to put on my neck, I had on my butt too, that's good. And you can put a block underneath your hips if that gives you more space. I'm going to create a little bit more space around the arms, the hips, and the lower back by putting this twist in. The twist towards your top leg, which is going to give you that first impulse to relax this hip down. Or maybe your impulse is not to relax the hip down, but maybe now you can give yourself that freedom or suggestion or effort to relax that top hip down and back. One more breath in. One more breath out. And you start to release over towards the other side. You want to try not to have this top hip follow you. One more exhale. And you're going to unwind to the front. And this is where things get a little bit weird. This top leg is going to come over. And instead of being over on this side, I'm going to come right into my middle here. Hands go back. Heart reaches up. Perhaps hips lift up, pushing into this split help. Big breath in. And exhale, coming down. Now you're going to swing the legs back and you're going to come up to standing on your knees. I'll show from the side. We'll go into camel pose. You can put your hands in your imaginary back pocket, swing the hips forward, lift the heart up. I've got toes curled under to heel. My underbutt lifting, heart goes forward. Release those elbows back, lift the heart up like shoulder pose. Big breath in. Exhale, draw the belly back, back to the center. Untuck your toes. See if you can fit your hips on your heels. You need to swing those legs out in front of you because that goes better in your knees and your body. Please do that. Come to a seat that makes sense to you. So you can be seated in any way if that does make sense. We're going to take the hands back, interlace the fingers, and then bring the fists over towards the right side of your waist and mirror you here. Draw the elbows back, release your ear to your shoulder. On your exhale, release your nose to your shoulder. On your next exhale, release your chin to your chest. So to release your hands, lift your head up, move your hands to the other side of your waist, and draw your elbows back, starting with ear to the shoulder. On your next exhale, going down nose to the shoulder. On your next exhale, chin to the chest. And then breathing out, releasing your hands, coming back up to the middle. And we're going to take that seated a little bit of a meditation and breathing practice, just kind of checking in and being here. If you want to sit up on anything, I highly recommend it. I'm going to sit on a block. Often we come to practice at first and things are feeling very tight, and that's why I say sit up on a block. It helps to release the hips, let the knees be a little bit lower, but even doing that towards the end, we're really just setting up in this space where hopefully we've moved around and created this space in this room in the body, peeling away, our weekend or week, what have you, and really being able to be still here. I'm gonna just count simply with the breath, breathing in for 4, taking a pause, and breathing out for 4 and taking a pause, so that we're there in all things, the taking in, the fullness, the release, and the emptiness. So first, take a really big breath in through your nose, big sigh, and slowly in for 4, 3, 2, 1, pause, out for 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. In for 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. Out for 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. Breathing in, pause, breathing out, pause, breathing in, pause, breathing out, pause. And then continuing this, maybe adjusting your pace a little bit if that is something that suits you and your breath and your body a little bit better. And focus on your breath, on the counting that you might be doing, on the sensations in your breath. Maybe you observe where the tightness comes back in, because it does. Even those moments where we think we have it just so well under wraps, like, oh, I'm just acting as is natural to me, something's gonna trip us up. Even when we think I'm ready for all of the feelings because I want to be a full spectrum human being, something will come and make you wish you hadn't. Be here with your breath a bit longer. Start to come back in. Releasing your breath if you've managed to hold on to it. And just take a nice big breath in, and again, big loud sigh. I'm gonna take Stargazer. Poses to wrap up and come down. You're just gonna take one leg and roll it out to the side. We're gonna come up onto the shin. You want your hand a good distance away from your hip. You're gonna roll up, and different than before when we were in the side space, can you be open in the front space? Rolling that shoulder back, pushing your heart up to the ceiling. Big breath in. And then go ahead and draw it back. If you're gonna try to sit up on your block, it might be a little bit weird alignment there. So just be kind to yourself and don't have to even get to it. And a good distance away from the hip. This leg is out. Let's roll heart up. Reach that heart out through your fingertips. Big breath in. And then rolling back down. You can take that block or cushion or whatever the heck you were sitting on if you were off to your side. And then start to come down onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest, rock around a little bit. Be upside down for a few moments here. So extending your legs up and holding on to your thighs if it's feeling tender. And then all of that loosening, you might not feel super fired up. But you can, of course, just kind of let the legs float up in the air. Maybe they're much more bent. A little reverse of circulation here. Wiggle your toes a bit. If it's hard, don't let your legs be still. Sometimes the movement is a little easier. Big breath in. Big breath out. Let your knees fall into your chest. Open your arms. Roll both knees over towards the right. And push a little bit more into the back of your right arm to perhaps open the left shoulder a bit more. And just let yourself melt into this twist. Observe any of the places you might still be trying to hold on and give yourself permission to let go of that tight hold. Check in with the weird spots. What's going on behind your knees and your forehead, the inside of your elbow. Take another full round of breath, softening as you exhale. And then taking your twist over towards the other side. Setting up, drawing the knees in, adjust what you need to adjust. Excuse me. And push a little into the back of your left arm as that can help to release the right side, and then begin this process of letting go that is a continuous process, this continuous dialogue. And not letting go like hurling it all away from you. Letting go like letting your palm be open. So that you can be with all things but not be bound by all of it. One more round of breath. And when you're ready, come back to the center. Set your feet down, knock your knees against each other. Take a moment to take stock, see if there's anything else at the end of your practice. Maybe a specific sort of Shavasana pose is calling to you, or another pose before you go to Shavasana. When you are ready, we'll find a place to round out the practice, coming into something restful and soft. That was a bell. I said restful and soft. Breathing a bit deeper, tuning in again. And when you're ready, roll yourself over to one side, offering this moment of gratitude for your practice. And enjoying yourself up to find your own version of a comfortable seat. Bringing your hands together at your heart. Feeling our practice, releasing one more Om together. Big breath in. Ah. Bowing down to honor the love inside of each of our hearts, the light and the darkness within us all. Namaste, friends.
Gentle cave of the heart shrine, vigil on the mountain.
Thanks, everybody.